past lives carry such valuable lessons that can be utilized in this lifetime to help you navigate your life, your relationships, and maybe even your work. And today we're going to touch on being able to tap in. Hi, my name is Shasta May Hernandez, they, them, their pronouns, and I am your non-binary spirit guide. Now, when I'm talking about tapping in, I'm really talking about being in the energy of, or being able to recall either the past life itself and or the lessons. If you have not experienced a past life before, this really might not apply to you, but if you have, or you're curious about your own past lives, or you would like to, I encourage you to stick around. I also encourage you to check out my previous video. I had interviewed one of my dear spiritual teachers and friends, Eli Raymer, and we talked about and discussed past lives as it related to the book that he wrote on it, and also kind of sharing personal experiences about past lives. Now, when I'm talking about past lives, I am specifically talking about a lifetime that you have lived as another being in another potentially body. Maybe you were an animal or some other entity or being in some other timeline, in some other reality. And generally speaking, because the term is past lives, it's in the past. And an example of one that I have personally had that I have learned to tap into in this lifetime, which is quite fun, is one that I experienced years ago. And I was a dancer, and I don't have formal dancing experience in this lifetime, or I didn't at the time. I had just been playing around with the energy of dance. I'd always loved to dance since I was a kid. I knew that, and I used to really try to convince my parents to put me in dance when I was younger. I did all these things. It was hilarious, actually. But I didn't do dance, and I did all these other activities and sports. And as I became an adult, I really wanted to dance and to take lessons, and I dabbled here and there. And one year, just in the bouts of grief, and depression, just so sad and down, I would spend nights with myself and, just grooving, just dancing. And I decided one day, I told myself, what if I was a ballerina and I just was dancing? And this was previous to me experiencing a past life. Now, fast forward to, a couple years after that, those moments of like fluidly dancing and just allowing my body to do what it wants to do and pretending I was a ballerina, I full on had a past life recollection. I would do these deep meditations, these deep trance meditations with music, kind of like taking all sensory info out, like blindfolded and with headphones. And I had these specific playlists I would go through to help me move through and process, and then also to leap into other spaces and places. And I had this one specific playlist that I would go deep into, and just in that instance, I full on went into this other life, and I experienced this whole other person that I was, this whole other relationship that I was in, the community I was a part of, all the places that we would go. I was a professional dancer in that lifetime, and I was so incredibly happy and just having the time of my life. I didn't have a whole lot, but I had everything that I needed, and I had all the people around me that I loved. I had a relationship, and I lived that whole life out, and it was such a blast. And I came out of that particular past life. I've experienced other ones which were not quite so joyful, but that one particularly, I came out of that and I said, wow, the amount of joy that I felt in that one was unbelievable. And it took me a few years to really learn to tap into that one, to be, completely frank. At that time, I was struggling with my faith, and I was struggling with being able to readily and consistently stay in the headspace where I was actively choosing joy, and things that would add to my joy, add to my peace, add to my love, and so it took me a bit to really go back and forth. I wrote everything down. I took many lessons from that lifetime, but the biggest one really was just, to dance more. After that one, I just started dancing a lot more, started taking lessons, which have been fun, but to my surprise, the biggest thing that I have found is kind of just asking spirit, let me channel that life and, allow whatever needs to come through. And that might sound very simple, but I then open myself to just moving, right? A lot of it is working to stay out of my mind and stay grounded in my body, right? And allowing myself to be this open channel for that previous life to then come through me, to shine through me, right? To take over. And I have found it increases my ability to be able to learn new things, especially when it comes to dance or movement, dance type movements. It's helped me, especially on days where I don't feel as confident, or I don't really want to, my introverted side comes out and I'm not really wanting to go out, but I also feel called, I really need to move and dance in community or out socially more than just at home. And so there will be these moments where I will then, I will ask spirit, okay, I'm ready to go. Will you, take over when you need to take over? And then the part for me on my end while I'm out and about is to really let go of the mind, right? You have to stay so open. And a lot of it personally is because I'm also clairaudient, so taking in the music and allowing the music and the rhythm to just take over my body. And I'm also a kinesthetic learner, so I know that side of myself. So there's layers to being able to do this, but I'm sharing this video hopefully as an inspiration for anybody who's looking to be able to tap into gifts, talents, and blessings that you have received in other past lives and other realities that you have lived. This is a personal belief that I have, that we have lived many other lives. Some of us have lived, thousands upon thousands of lives before the one that we're all tapping into together here today. And if you also follow, things like numerology, sometimes that can also give you a clue as to how many lives you've lived previously. For instance, I'm a life path 9. This is my last incarnation, but I have tapped into several different past lives with the knowing that there are so many others. I can feel all the others. They're there. And as I connect more deeply, not only with my ancestors, but my spirit guides. And I've been doing a lot more angel work and really allowing myself to receive and staying open to the messages that want to come through me, right? And just really trying to be in this humble place of humanity as much as I can, right? It requires a lot of dropping the ego. It requires a lot of dropping the mind. It requires a lot of not questioning so much and letting it, allowing. It's a lot of allowance. It's a lot of surrender. But I have found it to be so incredibly valuable for tapping in, right? There was another past life that I experienced where I was a spiritual teacher, but it was in a time where it was not accepted. It was actually like, you know, hunted. It was, you know, I was killed because of my gifts, and I was not staying quiet. I was not hiding. I was openly out there with all of it, which a lot of that has helped me to be able to be here, to show up, right? I don't ask for that. That one just came through like a lightning bolt, and there was really nothing more for me to do but to just show up and speak. And so I'm here, and I do my best to show up as consistently as Spirit calls me to show up, and we'll see where this channel goes. And the other thing that I wanted to share as well, I have found that helps in this is being able to create space for this to happen. So, you know, if you're living a very busy life, it can be hard to tap in, to stay so open and surrendered, especially if you're out and about in the world a lot, and you're a highly sensitive person. If you aren't quite so sensitive and you're able to just kind of navigate back and forth, like, that's awesome and that's great. I'm really talking to the people that have a hard time transitioning from, you know, being out in the world and like kind of the go mentality, or the busy lifestyle, and then really, you know, how do you transition into relaxing enough, into being able to surrender enough so that all of this can come through. And that's not to say that you can't, but it's because sometimes too that those energies can be a catalyst for experiencing a past life, can be a catalyst for your ability to be able to tap in, but it's really knowing what are those things that do that for you. And so just learning yourself, spending time with yourself. This doesn't have to be so much of a seeking energy as it can be an energy of, you know, an opening, right? A surrender and allowing, and then just asking, you know, your source, your higher power, if you call out to the universe or spirit or angels or guides, you know, letting them know that you are open to receive any messages that you need to receive from any past life or any other reality. And then living your life in alignment with that happening, right? And just seeing what happens, staying curious, following your intuition, listening, being still. And there's so many things, you know, that you might find in that time. And I hope that this video can inspire you to get creative and curious in your own process of tapping into these energies and all the gifts and talents and blessings that you have. If you'd like to connect with me further for readings and private guidance, go ahead and check the description box below, and I will see you in the next video.